It's important for us to have a good night's sleep and to have good nourishment, some food, and some rest so we can have mental clarity and the ability to be focused. Second is to keep our feelings and our emotions in check. Getting angry can dictate the outcomes of situations we simply weren't ready for, and we don't want to be impulsive and we don't want it to drain our energy. It could be very depleting to have a negative onset or outlook and affect our overall decision making. When attacking or defending, we want to be in a position where we're capable of attacking or defending ourselves in any given instance. We want to be reactive, not too far from getting healed in a potentiality that there are healers or support having some utility abilities a part of our team. And or when we're playing solo, we want to be within range of attacking, but also within the means of being able to step just out of the distance of getting hit and avoiding damage ourselves to use our own abilities to get us out of some of those more difficult and challenging situations. We're going to need to be aware of certain ways that we attack, where we don't overextend our position versus smothering the target and taking unnecessary damage. For this lesson, we're going to demonstrate the improper way and proper means of attacking and your positioning when doing so. There's a bad positioning when attacking you want to avoid generally, and it's called smothering the target. This puts you in a position where you can neither defend yourself nor attack effectively at your fullest potential because you are always going to be vulnerable to the same attack in return for every action that you take. You can't really get into a maneuver for a defensive position, and you can't really attack optimally for good uptime without getting hit a lot of the time in return. Here's what it looks like. We have a target here that's live and they will hit us if we make mistakes. So if we get too close to the target, we could be at a better range. But before we say what the real Goldilocks zone is, the better range to be at, this is the improper range to be at when attacking. There are seldom any opportunities or situations where you'd want to consider being as close as I am to the target currently. When we're attacking the target, as you can see, I'm very susceptible to being hit myself in return by the target. And to get out of this position, it's really difficult to get out of that position because you could easily be overwhelmed and or not have the time that you need to retreat before you get knocked out, especially against a bigger opponent. So you don't want to be smothering the target when you go in for an attack. When you go in for an attack and you smother the target too many times and you're overextending yourself, you're really putting yourself in the potentiality of getting knocked out and taking unnecessary damage. This puts an immense amount of strain not just on your other DPS who may have to take out some time to decide if they're capable of it and don't need heals themselves to revive you, but it also strains the mana or resources of your support that's a part of your team when you're playing with other players, part of a roster in a league, or you're going on a raid run. Your team is going to matter to you, and whatever resource that you have that you can hold on to, if that's your health points or your mana resources for casting spells, it's equally valuable to the team as well as... We can talk a lot about rotations, gear scores, and key bindings in World of Warcraft, but there's a passive mechanic that quietly decides whether you're top of the meters or end up staring at a dead screen, your positioning. In WoW, every fight is determined and defined by an invisible line. It's a dynamic threshold that shifts every time your target shifts, a literal Goldilocks zone that dictates control, survival, and maximum output. Here's the trap most players fall into: crowding. If you're playing a melee class, your instinct is to run right into the boss's hitbox and smother them. But if you're too close, you get caught in cleaves, frontals, and swirlies. You can't react to it in time. The sweet spot? Just a foot or two within strike range. And don't think ranged classes get a free pass. Rather, you're casting fireballs, lining up hunter shots, or healing the group. Hugging the absolute max range, or standing right on the top of the boss, puts you at a massive disadvantage. You need to sit right on that exact threshold, where your abilities reach, but you still have enough room to defend yourself and dodge incoming mechanics. This invisible line isn't static, it moves constantly. For tanking classes, mastering this zone is what keeps you alive and keeps the mob pack group tight. One step over the line and you're exposed to unnecessary damage, line of sight issues, or pulling an unwanted trash pack. When you lose track of this zone, panic sets in. You find yourself mindlessly button mashing, taking an unavoidable damage, or getting knocked out of a situation you would have easily survived. Next time you step into a raid or dungeon, don't just watch your cooldowns. Watch the ground, respect the invisible line, and master your Goldilocks zone. Better positional awareness will instantly make you a better player.